What's important to remember is in the spaces in between, when you're driving somewhere, when you're transitioning from home to work, from work to home, from school to somewhere, from after dinner to in between spaces. These are spaces that actually matter. And I want you to be aware, if you can reflect, what are you focusing on in those moments? Because I believe as humans, as Homo sapiens, who are the only creatures on this planet who have power to A, be aware of what you're thinking of, and B, choose what to think of, and 3, C, have power to create something first in the mind and then in the physical realm, then that's a lot of time that we are allowing distractions to decide our internal state. And that is just not making sense to me. So let me put it this way. You're driving in your car. This is a perfect opportunity to choose your focus, because a lot of times we're focusing on something that just happened in the past that didn't go well, was annoying. In the present, the traffic, something, or worrying about a worst case scenario. There are other options. There's actually a lot of other options. There's infinite amount of options. And which one is best going to serve your future? Because complaining about that is not really serving you. Being angry in the present moment conditions also is not serving your future self. Your future self, I'm talking about like yourself in 10 minutes, yourself in 1 hour, or your 10-year self. And then worrying about something is also not so helpful. So, what are the other options? Well, first, let's find another inspirational song to back me up. Let's try this one. Perfect. So, other options. First one, gratitude. Deep, deep gratitude from your heart. It doesn't require anything to change, because right now, like the fact that you have hands is amazing, and the fact that you're listening to something that your ears can hear. So gratitude is always, always the best, most important way to fill up with abundance immediately. Secondly, if you're going to imagine something from the past, why don't you think about a time that you were really excited? Why don't you think about a time when you did overcome something? Why don't you think about a time when you were laughing your head off? And why don't you think about your favorite meme? Why don't you think about Jesus? Why don't you think about your friends? Why don't you think about one of your favorite Christmases? So that's like a nice use of your past. It's tied to gratitude and appreciation. Future, why don't you think about what you would like things to be? What qualities you're excited to develop? Not what you lack, not what you don't have, not what's gonna go wrong in the future because of something in the present. Because anything can happen in a moment. A miracle, it only takes one moment for a miracle. It only takes one instant for everything to change. And most likely, those types of things can happen when you first are already relishing in the gratitude. And then what happens is when you create your focus more often on how you want things to be, how you want things to go, mostly how you want yourself to feel inside, the state of peace, the state of magnificent awe and wonder, what happens is not necessarily magic, but what happens is when that's who you're seeing yourself being, because you spent time, you invested time in this vision. When you invest time in it, then what happens is that's where you're going. So you're going that way, and then what happens is you start making choices and behaving more in line with we'll say like the hope and the awe and the what you want. Because when you're spending that car ride dwelling on how everyone didn't help you, how this didn't work out, how you didn't get this, how you're not good enough, or whatever it is, or the meeting that didn't go well. I'm gonna replay this because it was good vibes. Whatever you're like focusing on, that's still creating your internal mode, okay? By the way, quick caveat, I believe fully in feeling every single emotion and not suppressing it. And suppressing an emotion is vastly different. It's very different from repeating a loop, a thought loop that's very familiar to you of a complaint or how a helpless feeling of something, of like taking it so that, making it so that you don't have power when you're in that thought loop. Because what I'm saying is you do have more power for what you're gonna do from this point forward, how you're gonna relate to it, if you're going to forgive, whatever that feels like and means for you in this moment. So what I'm saying is your future, or say the qualities you don't yet have, wanting to be more confident on the stage, wanting to be more confident in the interview, wanting to own this type of business, wanting to have healthy behaviors be more natural. Maybe there's just a bunch of habits. Maybe you can't think of what you want, but you can think of what you don't want. You can think of habits that aren't helping you, but it feels like you just can't stop. I know that anything is possible. I know that you can change, and I know that you are capable because you are capable of asking for help. You're capable of making a little change because you're watching this video right now. It means you can see there's another alternative. And even if there's a tight grip on the old, you can just release one finger today. You can just release one hand. If there's a part of you says, I don't want to let go, I don't want to stop, I don't want to give it up, you say, I know you don't want to give it up. I know. Both ways are going to feel discomfort in different ways. But what you can choose, and what I'm saying, and that was a little tangent, but what I really wanted to say here was that as you make your focus in those in-between transition moments, as you're more intentional, that becomes your new normal, that becomes your new baseline, and the quality of your life is like the quality of your emotional state. Because if you're always stressed, if you're always late, if you're always mad at somebody, then that's kind of your life. But we know that it can change. We know that the nervous system can change. We know that beliefs can change. What you believe is inherently possible. That those are like walls. And I always hear this saying that the same walls that we build to protect ourselves are the same walls that keep love out. It's the same walls. It's the same chain fence. And there's really all blessings there. There's really all infinite possibilities. So when I said earlier, you could be thinking about infinite things, past, present, future, but infinite. You play this game and you say, wouldn't it be cool if this happened? And then you'll hear the inner critic say, yeah, but that's not gonna happen. And maybe because you spent a year listening to the inner critic, maybe you spent 5 years and that voice is so loud. Maybe it's been 10, maybe it's been 30, and that voice feels like truth. But we all know deep down that what's really true is that really you can change in a day. You can make a decision today that changes the course of your life. You can sign up for something that by signing up for that today, you would have to become a different person. You would create better habits. That investment in yourself, in your time, you might not know where you'll be, but you know you'll be closer to where you want to be. And sometimes that's all we know. We just follow like, what is the light that you want? Who would help you right now? What type of support would be really, really helpful? What type of change? And so that is what's like being a magnet for miracles. I think you have to be open. And you have to believe, first of all, it's possible. And to believe it's possible, then you have to believe it's possible for you. Then you have to believe that it's worth it. You have to believe that it is worth it. And you have to keep going. And you have to keep on trying. And you have to keep on knowing, I'm going to choose, even though nothing says that this is going to happen, even though there is no evidence, even though all the evidence would look like this is not going to happen. What in the world is faith? Faith is not, it looks super easy, I can see the next step, I see the next step, I see the full staircase. That's not even faith, that's boring. That's boring and doesn't require God and doesn't require faith. It doesn't really require you to make choices. It doesn't require you to have to listen to God or have to listen to your heart, because you just are blindly walking. That's boring. What it is like when everything looks like it's not gonna happen, you know better. You know because all you can do is trust the evidence or trust your heart. And I just have always thought it made a lot more common sense to trust your heart. And that's where things differ. And that's why I do have random magical things happen all the time. I'm confident of it. It's because I let that be open. I let it be open. It's not because there is something different about different people that only they can have these magical random things. But it is about choosing what's the faith and trust gonna go? Where is it gonna go? And it's hard because outside looks real compelling and real convincing, and it is there, and we live in it, and we deal with it, and we operate it, and we follow the laws and all this stuff. And there's just like, if you just need to listen to what you already feel is possible, and then you keep on going, because your job never was to know the timing. You never were told the outcome. You never were told how it was going to happen. You never are going to be told that, unfortunately. Never. And guess what? Nobody who you admire, they were never told it either. Like, I was thinking about this. When someone got their first big break in a TV show, when somebody made it on the sports team, like, none of them knew for 100% certainty that that audition was going to be it. They didn't know that that tryout was going to be it. They didn't know that this scout was going to be at this game. Do you know what they did do? They showed up. They just kept showing up. They kept on developing the skill. They kept on believing. They kept on spending time to believe. And so that, my friends, is what I want you to remember. The power of the in-between moments. When you're done with dinner, you can scroll on your phone, and your phone can tell you what to think about, what to focus. It can tell you what to feel, or you can decide. You can decide. What are we going to think about? What am I grateful for? What is something that makes me feel appreciation? And what is something that would be really, really cool? What could be possible? You know, Jesus said when they said, like, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven or something, and before he answered, he just brought up a kid from the crowd. He pulled over a kid. That was the answer. And then he said, become like little children. And I think that little children, when they don't know that certainly there's things that are possible or not possible, I believe that is part of it. I believe it because hope is a Christ-like attribute. And hope is something that I love, and something that I love to magnify for other people. And I think that if you spend a lot of time on social media and with the wrong, I don't want to say the wrong people, but with people who don't elevate hope, you're going to feel that. You're going to feel that. But as someone who loves the light and loves to feel hopeful, you have to rise up, step up, and be stronger than that. You have to rise up above yourself. It's really what you're rising up above. It's not above other people. It's above the negative voice. It's above the inner critic, and it's above the doom and gloom. Because there is light, there is hope, and there is promised good ending, no matter what. And so we can feel that and take charge in our day and be a leader about that. Because when we hope for things that are not yet seen, but it's coming, you live like it's coming, you live like it's going to happen, it's going to create different behaviors in you. When you know that XYZ is going to create this result, you behave in this result. But when you don't think it's going to work, these behaviors aren't as in line. So hope is just building. Keep on fueling that flame. What if it is going to happen though? What if it just hasn't happened yet? But what if it is my time, is coming? What if this is working? Tell yourself, it is working. It is working. It is working. It does not have to be that hard. It is working. It is possible. Things are changing. The better it gets, the better it gets. If something good is going to happen, it's going to happen to me. Up and up only. Wait, we need some music for this part, because this riff is going to be fun. Let's do this one. Okay. Say it again. If something good is gonna happen, it's gonna happen to me. Miracles are happening left, right, up and down. They're happening all around me. They're happening every day. They're happening every second. Miracles always are happening. I can be a recipient of a miracle. In fact, I witnessed a miracle. It's a miracle that I have these hands, that I can see. That is a miracle. I cannot believe the gratitude that can abound within 1 second of shifting focus. It's always available. Now, take a deep breath in. And now you get to choose. Take this with you. Be in charge of your thoughts, of your focus in the in-between moments of your life. Watch it change. Watch the emotional state inside of you grow and change to a new emotional home of hope,